let's go through another set of these. So, Battlesuits. Start with the GSF Battlesuits. Assault Vanguard. It's a bit of a weird one. To begin with Battlesuits, getting your Battlesuit upgrade is giving you a straight up health and shield increase. So you're getting an extra 500 health and an extra 300 shield. So before you even consider abilities, it is beneficial to have a Battlesuit. You are increasing your survivability. Now, to go with that, you then also get a set of abilities. All Battlesuits are the same cost, by the way, 2,500. As far as abilities, now, the Assault Battlesuit is more of a fire support platform. The idea being able to constantly chuck out small missile salvos from that shoulder-mounted launcher. So you have two variants of bombardment with that. You have locking on to up to 6 targets. Now, it says infantry targets, but that has since been changed. You can target structures and vehicles with it, but it only does about 100 damage. Nothing spectacular. But again, free damage is free damage. Much better versus infantry. Firing volleys of these at enemy infantry coming in, you'll do quite a lot of damage, knock out a lot of units very quickly. And then you combine that with the airburst, which fires essentially it's firing a grenade that tries to get as close to the target as possible and detonate. It's not entirely reliable, but to give you some idea, that will knock a officer's shields off entirely. So that's doing roughly sort of 500 damage when it hits, which allows you to then quickly follow up and finish them off. I do think there's good synergies with the incendiary shotgun on this. I think there's good synergy with stuff like the marksman rifle, other long range options as well. But right now, it's not terribly strong outside of that anti-infantry and officer combat role, and doesn't have any real utility outside of essentially being able to do free damage. Exploit Vanguard, probably the strongest GSF battlesuit at the moment. It really comes down to the versatility of this battlesuit. So hacking mode allows you to outright destroy drones, so recon drones, stealth drones, and forging drones. You hack those and they just cease to exist. They self-destruct. If an officer is getting into their battlesuit via a forging drone, if you hack it, it destroys not only the drone, their suit, but it also kills the officer. A lot of power behind that. Scarab Swarm, put down a mine. This can be destroyed with an AT weapon or an explosives. But to give you some idea, if you're using a regular MRPG, it requires 5 direct hits to destroy it. If you're able to land a cluster grenade, you can clear it in one shot. Shoot it with a G12 or an Ampor. But again, you most of the time you're going to need direct line of sight. This, on the part of the person putting it down, is just they throw it in front of them. One button press, this is on the floor. You then need to either stay away from it or destroy it with an appropriate weapon. Personally, I believe they should change the Scarab Mine to be like the sentry drones. So it should have a health pool, it should be targetable by AI units, and essentially it becomes a case of you want to put this around corners. You need to hide it to some extent when you place it, rather than it just being, I placed this here, that's awkward for you, have fun. Another thing that has been discussed is giving a startup time on the Scarab Mine, so you place it down and then it doesn't activate for, say, 2 or 3 seconds. There's a beeping, which gives more of a chance for enemy officers to react to it, but that's neither here nor there. That's possibilities. Currently, you just throw it down, it becomes active, it does damage, it blinds enemies, it's really versatile. If you get rushed by scouts, you can basically block almost all of it with a single Scarab Mine. And then we come to the passive ability, which is Disruption Wave. Just by being near to an enemy officer, you drain their shields. Yeah, it's good. There's nothing on this kit which is like mediocre. Like everything is good. Siege Vanguard. Basically, it's an engineer's. You want to be an engineer. You are able to put down little defense guns. They've only got 100 health, but they've got a lot of armor. They're classed as structures, which makes them a bit awkward to clear quickly. And, you know, they're helpful. You also have the repair tool there. You can use that to either heal or you can throw it to stun an enemy. It is very awkward to throw, but again, if you hit, it's a stun. Sometimes that's what you need. It's okay. It's good defensively. Nothing special. Just good defensive options. Good for the sentries to draw fire. And also the repair tool allowing you to keep turrets or vehicles alive. It has a distinct support role. It's good. And the ace, the high mobility suit. The key aspects of this, one is you get a double jump. Typically when you take health damage, what am I saying typically? When you take health damage, you can't sprint. This Battlesuit allows you to mitigate that by being able to double jump and by being able to use Eagle Strike to escape. So again, strongest movement tools, and it does increase your survivability. The other key thing here is the drones. You deploy a set of 3 of these, and they're annoying little buggers. And it's not just that they do damage. If they run out of ammo and self-destruct, they do an explosion. I have not been able to check how much damage this does, but it is a substantial amount of damage when they explode. So just leaving them to attack a structure, they will actually get quite a lot of damage on it. They distract AI units quite extensively. And again, they're also good for scouting. They're giving vision when they go out. So really versatile tool. And just, yeah, good. Was astoundingly overpowered when the Eagle Strike knocked down for something like a second or two, and it allowed them to jump on enemies and then it immediately kill them. That's been nerfed, but the overall kit is still strong and very versatile. Moving on to Axeron, we have the Aegis, the original battlesuit for Axeron. The whole point of this is as a support suit. Supercharge allows them to heal the shields on allies. It also allows them to heal Iron Guards. Really good support. If your commander is running a lot of Iron Guards, you get a lot of value out of these guys. And then they also have the shield where they're able to put up a barrier, blocking enemy projectiles, and protecting those around them. But it does come from their own shield pool to do this. So 2 Aegis working in tandem basically means one can keep topping up the shields while the other maintains a barrier to protect them. And then finally you have Focus, which is the passive, giving a cooldown reduction to nearby allies, which again, really handy. Allows other suits to be more active. And in the case of doubling up on the Aegis, it gives them a lot of flexibility to keep those buffs going out. Orion, probably the best soloist suit in the game. The main reasons for this being the shock mine and the stealth. It makes it very easy for you to start going around doing flanks, getting where you need to without being spotted. And it's important to keep in mind the AI units will not detect you unless you get very close. The only exception being the point defense turrets, which have detector on them, so they will pick you up very quickly. But by and large, you can get around the map relatively unharassed as this suit, and hit the enemy from various flanks. Very powerful suit. Decoys is also very useful. I'd say the main issue on this one currently is because the sleight of feet cloak is constant. So as long as you don't stop sprinting or do an action or fire, you are stealthed. And this allows you to get around the map unnoticed, and hit from flanks where you're just not expected very easily. Yeah. And then you have the shock traps, which you place down, and then after a short delay they become active, and if an officer gets caught in that, they will be locked in a electrocution debuff for 3 bursts. I think the duration on it is something like 3 or 4 seconds, but more than enough time for the Orion to come in and kill you. So great assassin, good for soloist play, and hitting the flanks. Very, very powerful suit. Hyperion is the Axeron's fire support option. If you're looking at running with no ammo, or you're going to be in the enemy back lines for a long time, this is the suit you want, due to the aerial bombardment being able to give you a lot of free damage output. I put this in the same kind of role, I should say, as the assault, having access to that kind of free damage. The issue with this one is that when you do aerial bombardment, you fly up into the air. This can work to your advantage, but typically leaves you vulnerable to fire from a lot of directions. But again, great anti-structure potential, great support fire option. And I do think there are options where if you ran enough of these, you could really saturate the enemy in artillery. I'd say the optimal setup for that, though, would be 3 Hyperions and an Aegis, simply due to the cooldown reduction being too useful. But right now, I don't really see it, due to the fact that a good FPS players will shoot you out of the sky, and it is expensive. So yeah. As far as the Maelstrom, puts down a orb which blocks line of sight, does light anti-tank damage, and slows infantry. Basically think of it as a area denial tool that prevents infantry rushing into you. Unfortunately, it's not much of a threat to vehicles, so they will just drive through and come after you. But it does prevent them from moving into you with infantry support, which can allow you to deal with an enemy vehicle. The issue I have with it currently is the long charge up time when you want to deploy it. It's a bit awkward. It is a long charge up time, and again, as you get used to it, you can time when to poke around a corner, but the longer you charge it, the more it distorts your vision, so it becomes much harder to aim. So moving around can cause you to completely miss where you originally aimed it. Bit awkward. And then Volatile, where when you are incapacitated while using ability, you explode. This does not really mesh well with the suit, because you typically are going to be at range when you get taken out. There is an argument that it just means that if you want to push into an area, run in while trying to cast Maelstrom and then explode on a load of infantry. Not really what I'd call a great play, but maybe there is potential for it. Maybe it's just an untapped ability of the suit to work as a suicide bomb. I mean, if it works, but it's not been tested. Maybe great, maybe really bad idea. Never know. And we come to the Berserker. Berserker is the frontliner. If you are a very aggressive player, this is definitely the suit you want. The Shock Punch allows you to destroy structures quite effectively. It will also stun vehicles if you're able to get close enough and hit them. Kinetic Collector basically means that you absorb damage for the duration. Do keep in mind, though, you can still be knocked down by stuns, and if you are hacked by an exploit, it will disable the Kinetic Collector, and you will not do the burst attack either. So that can leave you very vulnerable. And then it's got self-regeneration, so while out of combat, your health regenerates as your shields do, which does give you a lot of sort of self-sustain in combat, staying on the front lines. The other benefit that this suit has is that you'll notice it's got some big chunky arms. If we go through the others, relatively slender arms, this guy has big bulky arms. And the way hitboxes work in this is that you have a head hitbox, a body hitbox, and then limbs. And if you get shot in the limbs, you take substantially less damage. So those arms protect you from a lot of body hits, reducing the amount of damage you can passively take, which really does increase the sort of frontline survivability of the Berserker, and it is not to be underestimated. So yeah, that's the Battlesuits. We could discuss commanders, but I feel like that's for another time when I can do actual battles.